Thanks for tuning in. We're ACEComicals. I have with me my co-hosts Rahul Jani and Leon Everett. I'm Greg Driver. Let's get started. Hi guys, welcome to ACEComicals episode 4. Sweet Christmas, it's Power Man and Iron Fist. And as always, I'm joined by Rahul Jani and Leon Everett. So we've covered the first trade paperback, which covers the first 5 issues of the 2016 Power Man and Iron Fist book. And you've got Power Man and Iron Fist, these two guys who have worked together previously, two street-level heroes, and they've come together again for one last time to kind of solve a little bit of unfinished business regarding a friend who's been put in jail and is now coming out of prison, and they're there to collect her. From there, it kind of spirals out of control a little bit because she charges them with the task of getting back a necklace, and the necklace is magical, and it just escalates from there, and there's mayhem, there's mysteries to be solved, there's crime bosses, there's magic. It's all a little bit crazy. I thought it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I quite liked that it was light-hearted and, you know, just a little bit removed from some of the darker stuff that I've been reading recently. I guess I've read a lot of dark stuff recently, a lot of like heavy stuff with heavy themes and things like that. And well, as you know from a previous review, Black Panther, that's a heavy book, right? So let's start with the usual. What did we know about Power Man and or Iron Fist, or Power Man and Iron Fist, before we came in, and what was our sort of overall thoughts on this incarnation of Power Man and Iron Fist? Do you want to lead the way, Ray? Have you got anything to say?
Yeah, like as usual with the things that you guys introduced me to, I had literally no clue about either of these characters. Though it turns out I did know who Power Man was because I've seen Jessica Jones and I've watched a bit of Luke Cage on Netflix. Didn't realize that his character becomes Power Man. Didn't know anything about Danny Rand as Iron Fist going in. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. It's really cool. It's like you said, it's a lot of lighthearted fun, which was a welcome break after some of the really heavy things that we've been reading, as you said. Yeah, it's lots of fun. These two guys going on a bit of a romp. They're having a laugh and getting in fights. That's exactly what I got into comic books for.
Leon?
Yeah, with myself, like going in, Iron Fist is a bit of a blank for me. I'd known about him and knew sort of his origin. My only real interaction with him had been in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, the beat 'em up. And he was quite a cool character in that. But otherwise, didn't know too much about him apart from the fact that he was one of the Defenders and he's going to a Netflix show. That's all. Whereas Power Man or Luke Cage, on the other hand, I had a bit more exposure to. Read some comics, watched the TV show, and yeah, like know a bit of the history and sort of the context in which he came out in, and I've been a fan. Like I said, I've not really read too many of the comics, just a few here and there, and I was introduced to him in a backwards sort of way, as it was through the comic, the Brian Michael Bendis comic, Alias, about Jessica Jones.
Yes.
And I discovered, I went back and discovered their like relationship and his storyline back from that, as they had a bit of history in that. But yeah, in terms of this trade, it's really fun. I know that's the word going around, but it really is. It's a nice contrast from some of the more foreboding and internal stories that we've been reading, or like internal struggle. But with this one, it feels like a nice throwback, a nice nod to sort of the origins of these guys as the heroes for hire, like the street level guys who get their hands dirty while like the other Avengers are flying about facing intergalactic beings. and this one feels like nice and fun, and it has its influences on its sleeve, where you have like you still have a bit of the blaxploitation, but it's a bit more neo blaxploitation. You have a bit of the sort of like 70s kung fu action, but it feels very, very modern. It's still like this sort of odd couple buddy cop show or buddy detective show in a way, where they're sort of mismatched guys, especially with the way Danny or Iron Fist is portrayed in this particular run, where he's sort of the single plays it fast and loose kid, where Luke Cage has a family and he's more thoughtful and considerate about the responsibilities and the eventualities of their actions. I couldn't find the word there. It's nice having these guys play off each other and have this sort of sibling, sort of brothers rivalry banter, but like deep down these guys are like buddies for life, like brothers.
It's like what you were saying about the buddy cop thing. It's very Lethal Weapon. It's got a real air of Lethal Weapon about it. Luke Cage he's like always like 3 sentences away from saying I'm too old for this shit. In this book.
It does feel like that.
It's his how do I put this? He's like, it's like he's outgrown the whole superhero thing. Like he feels like he's outgrown the whole superhero thing, and I don't do that anymore. You know, I'm not a young man anymore, kind of thing. And Danny's just like turning up at his door, just going, "Come on, let's go, let's have a ride, let's beat some dudes up," kind of thing.
Yes, remember the old days? Remember when you used to have
fun? Like if you're a grown up and you've got a job and whatever, and then you've got like this buddy who's unemployed who turns up at your door blasted on a Friday night, and he's like, "Let's go out and do what we used to do," kind of thing.
And you're like, I've got to bathe my child, got to do the shopping. Like, sorry, man, I'm busy.
See, the only thing that I think's missing from this is that it doesn't look like Luke is actually having that much fun in the end. Whereas it would be nice to see him kind of let loose. Unless I'm misremembering, is there any bit where he kind of starts enjoying himself? Because he is pretty like grown up and responsible the entire way through. He's
having fun on the lowdown. He's having fun. He just doesn't want. He just doesn't want Danny to know that he's having fun.
I can't say that came across very well, as somebody who's like completely new to these characters.
I can sort of see it. I can see that he wants to do it, otherwise he wouldn't do it. And he wouldn't. I
guess because the way I felt about it was that, like you say, that you can feel the friendship between these two. But the first time I read this again with completely fresh eyes, I thought that Luke was kind of just like gritting his teeth, grin and bearing it, like being around Danny. I think the way he is.
See, I don't know. I think the general tone of the comic is quite light and bubbly. I would sort of relate it to like a Burn Notice or like a Chuck, where they're doing sort of these life and death things, but the tone is very chill and crazy, and they're like escaping by the scruff of their necks, or it's like they're not going to lose going into this fight type thing, and that's not really the tension. It's more about how these characters interact in this situation. And with that tone, I think it did inform, like, it didn't feel like anyone had to like really state their feelings, but I think we got it in the sense that, like Greg's saying, like, okay, the first outing is helping an old friend, but like later on where they team up for different reasons, it feels like, why is he there? Why didn't he just tell Danny to go away? But he's like, he's invested in the sense that they got a job to do, but there is this element of like, not like I'm loving this, but more a case of like, as he's fighting, it feels like he's properly jumping into it, not pulling his punches. I mean, the amount of times people get smashed through walls in these 5 issues, and it feels like because it's the same thing with like Riggs and Murtaugh. Like he never sort of goes crazy and starts screaming. They never like screaming together like, oh, this is actually amazing. He's always slightly has that sort of reluctant, I'm retired really, we're not together really type feel. That's what I picked up off from it anyway.
We're not a team. If there's a wall, it will be smashed in this book. That's
But that's the thing, though. He like smashes all these people through walls, but I never actually see him like take a break and smile afterwards, or like there's just no. I don't see much fun emanating from Luke in this. Like maybe I'm reading it differently to you guys, but yeah, I just get the feel like he's putting up with Danny's crap for the most part, which is still entertaining. It's not. I'm not saying it's not fun to read. I'm just maybe I've got a different take on the characters.
Well,
than you guys
he's
have.
kind of like it's like stressful for him, isn't it? Because he's whipped.
Yeah,
and then like he's got a kid and everything, and then his best mate is just off the chain.
And now he's got another kid to look after.
So
in this friend of
it's
his that's
kind of
turned out.
it's kind of like he's looking after his kid brother sort of thing,
Yeah.
I get that feeling from it anyway. I was going to mention that going back to what Leon said earlier about the fact that it does wear its influences on his sleeve still, and it is kind of like it's like they've took what they did originally, like back in the 70s, and then they've had fun with it. So rather than doing it in the 70s to cash in on the martial arts dollar and whatever, because back when Iron Fist was conceived, it was purely I'm guessing purely to cash in on the Bruce Lee money, like because martial arts was a big craze and everything else, and obviously, like Leon mentioned, you've got the whole blaxploitation thing with Luke Cage's character being what he was, and then like it's like they've taken that and they've overblown it a little bit for this book.
Yeah, I like that it's not a subversion of that. I like it's not holding a spotlight against the things that were wrong with it back in the 70s. It's kind of taking it and cartoonifying it. Yeah. And I think this comic's very cartoony, like in its style and its presentation.
I can actually see it playing as a cartoon. I don't know if it's just me that could see this as an animation, like
definitely.
No,
in tone as well.
Like an Adult Swim
in tone
or
as well. Rather than it being, it's not so serious that I could see it like like the live action Luke Cage, or any of the live action Defender stuff that we've got, and I suppose the live action Iron Fist, which will that be airing by the time this show goes out?
Not sure when that starts. Actually, we can we'll find out and put it in the show notes.
But like, it is like a cartoon. It is like a cartoon. This is what a comic should be. I think this is what a comic should be. In tone.
Well, I would.
Let's be careful with the saying.
I would push back. I'd push back on that. Just in the case of that, I think for the story that this is telling, which is two guys who, and the thing I really like about this, actually, this is related to my point, is that this isn't like Black Panther that we covered. Instead of being like a retcon refresh, this continues with all the history still there. So these guys have been Power Man and Iron Fist. Luke Cage has been part of the Avengers. Heroes for Hire has happened and plays a big part of big impetus with the storyline. And I like that now we're at this stage where Jessica and Luke are married, have a kid, and it's set like now. And it's set like in a later part of these characters' lives, and all the stuff before and all the relationships have happened are there. Like other characters like Black Mariah, they're there. They're part of the fabric of the world, and I like that it has that, and then uses it in the way it does, because I think for this particular story they're telling, which is this sort of buddy detective show, I think, I think this tone is the best way. If this had been done as some like gritty sort of Marvel adult, I just think it would have been dull. But it feels like it's written by a fan of both characters of those earlier comics, and it feels like the I guess the most sort of energetic way to do this particular story. But then I think different stories suit different tones, because like Black Panther, I don't think that would work with the same tone as this
totally
issue.
Wouldn't. But that, what I think what I meant when I said this is what a comic should be is that, how do I get this across? Because I know I like comics that are a little bit more, a little deeper in tone, a little darker in tone. Kind of, I like Batman, but yeah.
But I guess what you're probably saying is that, like, for you, like, this is a comic.
Yes,
comic.
yeah. That's what I mean.
Like,
yeah, for me, this is,
and there's no sort of allusions to it being this other bit of art
hasn't got,
or blah blah. This is
a comic.
Or like an introspective character study or anything like that. It's not that. It's
exactly
just,
that.
All the fun bits that you expect leaping off the page.
It's a comic. It's not a comic with delusions of grandeur. It knows what it is and it plays up to that, which is really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the comics I used to read as a kid.
Exactly.
Like, not the ones where I was going into it expecting like high literature. It's not like when I started reading Watchmen or like the Batman stuff, where everything is like a deconstruction of a facet of the character. This is just like these two guys getting into trouble and getting into fights, and then we see stuff scattered all over the page.
Yeah.
It's that kind of level of fun and lightheartedness.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
So, guys, what did we think of the book overall? Quick conclusions. What would you recommend it? Who would you recommend it to? That kind of thing. And like,
yeah, I thought it was great. I'd 100% recommend it to anyone who wants something to read, like is new to comic books and doesn't want anything that's too self-serious or like it's also not too comic booky. I don't know how to describe this. Like, it's not comic booky in the way that you have to know all the different characters and understand all the back history. Like, you know how some people have complaints about getting into the Marvel Cinematic Universe at this point. You don't need any of that. I came straight into this not really knowing anything about it apart from just generally how the Marvel Universe operates, and that it's kind of lighthearted. And I had a blast reading this. I would give this to my nephews, for example, to read if they asked me for a comic recommendation. Yeah, loved it. Great recommendation from you guys.
Yeah, I'd recommend this to anyone. I think it's brilliant. I'd recommend the old comics as well, actually, because the old Power Man and Iron Fist comics are really fun in a different way. But I'd recommend this. I really like the art style. I like how sort of like cartoonish it is, and how bright and how it, because there's a lot of really bright colours in this book. It's not, nothing is understated. It's all very pops off the page and very wham in your face kind of thing, short of having a big huge bubble with wham written in it.
Yeah, because we haven't really touched on the actual art. I'd agree with you. I love like how vibrant and expressive the art is, and I think it's another comic that handles the action in a really cool way, where like the onomatopoeia are on the screen, and like they feel like they're part of the image, part of the fight, and I love like you're saying how comic booky it is. Like Luke Cage just seems like he's the mini Hulk at times, and I like how they jump between all of that, and I like how it makes like Marvel's Harlem this cool sort of interesting place with a lot of like crazy individualistic characters just walking about, and every now and again you might be eating a burger and then two of your favorite superheroes are sitting in the booth next to you, or like you're walking down the street and then like a superhero just falls from the sky and people fighting over hot dogs. Like I don't know, it creates this like this fun world where I know you keep saying that a lot, and I think that is the key word.
Yeah.
It's fun, and like as Rahul was saying, I think it does this more successfully than like Black Panther, where this has a lot of history, but it doesn't matter in the sense that it just drops you in, but there's not any like long lore that you need to remember at all. Instead, it's just a case of these guys used to work together. This person was their ex office manager, and this is the story.
With Black Panther, where you had to know the ins and outs of Wakandan. Wakandan politics.
And I guess it doesn't have that job to do, but I think for what it does in the world it's got, it does that fairly effectively.
And
sorry, Rahul, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, and like a couple of points before we move on, like I love some like the vibe of this world. Like Leon was mentioning how they build up the city. Like these guys can't go anywhere without people in the background, like trying to take their photo or taking selfies with them in their phone and stuff. Like there's all these little background details about that gives you an idea of just how prolific these guys are. And like again, part of the thing where I'm new to these characters, but I immediately understood that they were both a pretty big deal. Like everyone was trying to get a snap of them. And yeah, about the artwork, like one thing we didn't mention is like the style of the artwork. Like the line art is kind of animated. This is what you were talking about, how it would make a really good like Saturday morning cartoon, because it has this like fluidity and like painterly vibe to it. Like I love the coloring in this book because everything kind of feels like it's been cut out of like sugar paper. I don't know if that rings right with you, but like it's got this muted pastel but bright papery vibe to it, which I really liked.
That the colours are something else in this book.
Yeah, Luffridge does some great work with it.
We like Luffridge's colours. I guess the way it's written as well, like the way it flows. There's
not really any downtime at all, which I quite like. It's just bam, bam, bam,
and it's not really doing anything too complicated either. It's like here they have to go and pick up their friend, and then they have to go and find a necklace, and they have to go fight these guys, and then it's the next issue.
It's like I always do this, and I'm going to proceed to do this every episode. Is like as a TV show, like the first 4 episodes would make a great pilot. Like you just everything you need there. And it just hits all the points, and then
issue 5 is like a breather webisode kind of thing.
And it sort of like leads you on the path of like what's next, like what other crazy shenanigans are in store, and it definitely makes me interested to.
And if Netflix need any hints, maybe they should just make a Power Man and Iron Fist cartoon.
Yeah, with the same type of like with a lighter tone than their current shows. That would be amazing.
Don't try and combine your current shows. I mean, you've already got your Defenders thing going on Netflix, where you're going to put all 4 of them together. But I think I'd like this to be a cartoon instead of a Power Man and Iron Fist dark and dreary Defenders show. Yeah, you should do it as a cartoon, Netflix. Listen to us, listen to Ace Comicals. We know what we're talking about. On to our actual deep dive then. So now we get to talk about all the stuff that we can't mention for fear of spoiling it for everyone, because this is a short spoiler section. And although it's still only a volume 1, so there's not a lot really to spoil, it's still, there's stuff in here that we wouldn't feel comfortable saying to you if you were going to read the book, because we would just like ruin stuff in it, which, you know. And it's all these like little things that we've picked up and noticed as we've read through it, like little nods to certain things and etc. So, the first one I want to bring up is the 2 Spider Women when they turn up, because there's this really, really, really awesome panel where there's a fight going on in the street, Power Man, Iron Fist, and I think it's issue 2. There's a fight going on in the street, and it's the Gorilla Man.
Yeah, Gorilla Man, Gorilla, basically like Heroes for Hire, or previous Heroes for Hire, are having having like brunch or lunch or something. They're in a cafe
Yeah.
hanging out, and these two guys come up and harass them. And like we said earlier, somebody gets punched through a wall, and they're having a fight out in the street. And we see the two Spider Women commenting.
It's Gorilla
on it.
Man and the Black Tarantula. So Arthur, Gorilla Man, Magan,
That's the
and Carlos, Black Tarantula, Lamarto. Now, these two are kind of like a mirror image of Power Man and Iron Fist as well. I don't know if you guys caught on to that. It's like their rival team. Like, total rival team, which I thought was pretty fun.
Yeah, a little bit like taken to its most ridiculous form.
Exactly,
Kind of.
Yeah.
And
I also love that in the previous issue, Tombstone takes issue with the fact that these guys, like Luke and Danny, are calling him a thief. And then in this issue, you've got Gorilla Man and Black Tarantula, who are doing the job for Tombstone to try and get the necklace back off him. And then Luke gets all pissed off because he thinks that they're being called thieves. I'm like, he's such a hypocrite.
But it's like a
doesn't know
total
at that point.
Tombstone is doing to them exactly what they did to Tombstone, because he's sending the exact same kind of guys to do the exact same kind of job. So there's this big fight in the street, and then on a rooftop nearby, we've got Spider-Woman and Spider-Gwen sat watching with their Burger Hut takeout. Spider-Woman seems to be filming the whole thing on her smartphone, and the exchange is brilliant. She's just like completely... All she wants out of it is to see guys getting naked as they're fighting. And
she's
Spider-Gwen's
thirsty.
asking like relevant questions, and Spider-Woman's just like, when's he going to lose the shirt? Spider-Gwen's like, what does Iron Fist look like under his mask? And Spider-Woman's just like, does it matter with a body like that?
It is great. I do love that because it's just such a beautiful aside, and one of the main boons of the Marvel universe, and the fact that a lot of the action, a lot of the heroes are centered around New York. Just the idea that like this could be happening and everyone else is about. So it's just lovely to have these two here who are not part of the story at all just be like, hey, what the hell's going on over here? And Spider-Woman's biting her lip, watching as it goes on, and then Spider-Gwen is just this innocent doe, just looking on like, yeah, what's happening? I'll ask, and all these questions. It's a beautiful set of panels.
I do like it.
And yeah, this thing you mentioned about Marvel, I think this is one of the things that I love about Marvel the most, is that they know how to have fun with their properties. Like you've got it's literally just one page in an entire book, and it's such a standout moment because it's these two characters who have like complete runs of their own. You know, they have their own stories, their own lives going on in the background. And yeah, they drop them into these guys' story and just have like a funny aside, and then
just happen to be in the right place at the right time.
I think that's great.
The other thing I picked up on that I really liked was Tombstone's goons that are tailing Power Man and Iron Fist.
Oh yeah,
They're so
they're great.
out of their head. They really have no idea what to do, and they're just sat in the car, just waiting for a call from their boss. Like, holy fucking shit! What do we do? These guys beat the shit out of everyone they touch. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
I mean, they're doing the smartest thing they can do, which is just like sit back and wait for somebody else to take a beating.
I know.
And then like.
They have like that line where it's just like, well, let's weigh this up. Like, we could go in there, get our asses kicked, and then Tombstone will be angry at us. Like, it's lose-lose.
Is he doing that weird whisper shout thing again? Yeah.
Yeah. That's like, there's a lot of like really cool sort of like, I mean, it almost goes too far, but I still love it. It's every character has some quippy line.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people that can rub people up the wrong way, but I just kind of love that stuff. Even when it's over the top, where like there's a bit where like a character has like 3 or 4 different nicknames in the space of one conversation with Iron Fist. Like I think it's
Black Mariah calls him
Mariah,
like
she's
Hong
like,
Kong Phooey and something else or something else.
Yeah.
And she's just rolling them out. But I kind of love it, and I kind of love just how ridiculous it is having like two characters are having a conversation while the other two are fighting. Like it manages to make the ridiculous something that you are sort of just deeply invested in.
Well, I think the tone of the story sets that kind of stuff to be allowed. Because like we keep going back to like comparing this to Black Panther, it totally wouldn't work in that because the vibe of the story is so self-serious. But in this, it's so lighthearted you can look past the ridiculousness of some of the dialogue and just enjoy what it is.
One of my favourite panels is going back a bit, is where they're sat together in the car, the small car. You've got Luke Cage and Power Fist sitting side by side in a small car that's clearly too small, and the way they get that across is to draw Luke Cage cartoonily filling the car. He's just totally like hunched over, just filling the car with his hands on the little steering wheel. I thought that was brilliant. I love stuff like that. And he just looked. It's like he's spilling over into the passenger seat as well, and Danny's kind of like crunched up almost against the window a little bit with his arm out the window.
I think one of my favourite things of this book is the two different Doctor Strange. Well, we've got Doctor Strange and then Budget, like
Senor Magical.
What is it? Doctor Strange's non-union Mexican equivalent, Senor Magico. Like I love it. I love how like Doctor Strange is like it's kind of a douche, and he thinks that the magic of this necklace is beneath him, like because he doesn't know it, it's not worth knowing. And then they go to this other guy who knows exactly what it's on about. He knows, like maybe it's like quote unquote lesser magic, but he's way friendlier and he's not a dick about it. Basically, like I love that character. I'd kind of want to see more from him.
Yeah, because it's like the thing, because that's the stones and stuff they're doing, the Super Soul Stone and all that. Like I love that. It's like, oh, this is street magic. So it's like you have these different tiers, and like Doctor Strange is super aloof and oh, I've never heard of this, blah blah, because it's not like classical. Make incantations and draw signs. Well, it is to a degree, but it's not like this big known sort of witchcraft. Instead, it's something a bit more.
It's just small time, whatever.
Hush.
Did you take this to be an insult, as I did when I first read it? Like he was telling them they were looking for David Blaine.
I did not think of that. That's. I'm gonna have to reread.
Because when I first read that and he says street magic, I'm thinking, wait. You're saying this Super Soul Stone is like a David Blaine thing, is because like he's really insulting these guys about it, and then it's just that the whole thing where Luke Cage is leaving and he's like, "Man, what a bunch of fiddle faddle! I never thought he'd ever shut up. I have Agamotto this, 7 Rings of Ragador that." Luke Cage is swearing,
Well, that's the thing, like as well. Like one of the things that I was interested about is that Doctor Strange has like Wong, who is his like manservant, and in this he's still portrayed as the manservant, even though it's like 2016 comic. And I was wondering sort of like the motivation behind that, and it like thinking about it, it's just super clear. It's because Doctor Strange is a douche. So it's like there's like instead of like doing what they could and like make like with the Doctor Strange movie and like changing up Wong's character, they leave him as the manservant purposely because it makes sense in this context because Doctor Strange is a douche.
Yeah.
Oh man, you read way deeper into that than I did. Because like if I hadn't thought about it until you just mentioned it, but like if anyone's going to serve tea in this house, it's going to be him. Like if I was at Greg's house and somebody said, "Oh, can you make a cup of tea?" You'd get the Indian guy to make a cup of tea. You'd get the Asian guy to make a cup of tea. He's just the guy making a cup of tea. Like that's how it seems to me. I wouldn't trust Doctor Strange to make me a cup of tea. And that's Wong to make me a cup of tea. That's
Doctor Strange is American. Doctor Strange wouldn't know how to make a cup of tea. If you hit
well,
him in the face
exactly.
with a cup of tea, he wouldn't know how to make a cup of tea. But
I don't think I mean, being serious, I don't think there is any hint of him like being a manservant apart from literally just bringing him a drink.
I think he's like the butler. I don't know about manservant, more butler. But
well, not even butler. He's just the guy who's bringing his guests.
He's
a cup of tea.
badass butler.
That's
You go to
literally the way I
Batman's
saw it.
house, Alfred brings you your cup of tea. You know,
Alfred's
but Alfred's also a badass. And Wong's also. I think Wong's in like some of the like Doctor Strange comics. He is actually like an actual badass. He uses magic and stuff, and he's like in the same sort of capacity that you get Alfred in Batman. As in Alfred, when the shit hits the fan, Alfred's there with a shotgun against the wall, just like, okay, I've got to protect the Batcave, you know?
See, I don't think there's any social commentary going on here. I just think it's a dude serving some tea. I think if you look on the page where he's pouring Luke a cup, I love Luke's face in that. Like, he's got this slightly dainty stance to him, and like his dot eyes, which I think are adorable. Like, he looks really cute in that image. Take a look, top left.
Yeah, in that panel, I can see what you mean. Yeah, but I'm kind of with you, Ray, a little bit. I don't know about there being anything. We know that Doctor Strange is a douche, and that is probably at the back of it. The fact that he's, he would have a butler or a manservant because he thinks he's God's gift to magic or whatever. But it's just, I think it's partly Doctor Strange being a douche, and partly the fact that I think Wong just knows how to make a really good cup of tea, and Doctor Strange doesn't.
I also think that Doctor Strange, I don't understand how he can sneer at street magic while having like a knockoff Sword of Omens in the back of his shop.
Well, that's just collector. He's just a collector, isn't he? He's probably got Sting in there somewhere. It's probably glowing blue right now.
He's got a shelf of pop vinyls that you can't see.
And some horrible like replica weapons from various movie franchises and stuff that he's got. He's got an Iron Man helmet with a voice changer.
Moving on. So somebody said fiddle faddle.
That was
right?
me.
Who mentioned that? Because that's so Luke's method of swearing in this, because he's been told off by Jessica for swearing in front of their daughter too much. I think is interesting.
Yeah,
like everything's just fiddle faddle.
Because in this book, Luke Cage is on lockdown. He's totally whipped. Jessica is like the boss. She's at home like effing and blinding, but he's not allowed to swear. She tells him he's got to curb his swearing, so he's trying this new thing where he substitutes swear words for things like fibble fabble and stuff like that, and it results in some hilarious speech bubbles.
I thought this was a little bit forced. Like he uses fiddle faddle a lot. He calls Tombstone a knick-knack paddywhack. I don't really know what it's like. You have to be really. I don't know.
It comes across forced, but I think it's supposed to. I think it's meant to. It's meant to
I
feel
guess
like
he's
making a
out
conscious
himself.
effort not to say motherfucker. He's just.
That's okay. Fair point.
I quite like that though. I do quite like that, and I like. I like the way he kind of gets railed for it a little bit in the beginning by Iron Fist. I do enjoy the swearing.
And then the best bit of that is like Jessica just F's and blinds.
And the daughter doesn't care. Like, it's completely going over her head.
The whole point was the daughter was picking it up, and she comes out with some huge string of it, doesn't she?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
We've got to
yeah,
stop
you're
swearing,
right.
or you've got to stop swearing, she says. But I think Jessica swears more than Luke does anyway. And you've got the whole bit where they're arguing, and Iron Fist is in the other room. Danny Rand's just standing there in the other room with the daughter, and Luke's like, he's just there, right? And you're talking about him saying he's a knob, and Jessica's like, yeah, I know. Did you hear me? I said you were a knob, kind of thing. Like, she doesn't care that he's there and he can hear it. And the whole thing with the phone calls as well. When Luke's on the phone, he won't say hi from Iron Fist.
See, that's the kind of thing that makes me think that he doesn't want Danny around. But I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much.
I think it's more that he doesn't want Jessica to know that he's enjoying it because Jessica's told him no. I think that's what it is. Like, if you get told you're not allowed to do something by a significant other, and then you do it anyway, but you pretend not to enjoy it. I guess. I don't know. But yeah. No. He's literally just trying to look good for Jessica. Like, look, Jessica, I'm doing what I'm told, kind of thing. I'm not enjoying this. We're not back together. Honest.
I do like this slightly running theme about like being pissed off that his clothes keep getting wrecked. Yeah. Like, he makes a comment about how his skin is unbreakable, but his waistcoat is silk.
That goes back to the that comes up in the TV show as well. In the Luke Cage TV show, where his clothes just keep getting shredded by bullets, and he's makes comments about how like, oh man, this is like my 5th hoodie this week and whatever, you know. So like some little bits of trivia that we picked up on when we were going through it. There's a lot of musical references in this comic. There's a Run the Jewels lyric where Jenny and Black Mariah walk into one of Tombstone's operations, and they are about to rob everybody, and Jenny sort of mutters under her breath, and the crowd chants "Get that paper," which is from the first Run the Jewels album, isn't it? Is it the self-titled track? Yeah.
Yeah, Run the Jewels.
Yeah,
Run the Jewels.
and it's an ELP verse. You've got a part where Black Mariah is chucking money in the air, and she's singing to herself, and it's "For the Love of Money" by the OJs, and it's like the opening "Money, money, 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 money," and she's like singing it to herself. And then at the end, the only one they actually signpost properly is the Lion King one. Can You Feel the Love Tonight, where they start singing that at the end, or Black Mariah again starts singing Can You Feel the Love Tonight from the Lion King, which I guess it's the one that they're kind of allowed to signposts because now they're owned by Disney. So,
oh yeah.
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 What you were going to say something, Ray?
No, I was just agreeing with that. Yeah, I didn't realize, I didn't make the connection that Lion King being Disney and now they own Marvel, that's why they could use that.
I guess
line.
that's why they said from the Lion King instead of just saying "Don't make me bust into my favourite Disney jam." You know.
Yeah, fair. I mean, these two go around being douchebags and like robbing banks and stores and stuff, but they got good taste.
Yeah, and they're not. I don't think they're terrible people in this book. I mean, they're bad people, but they're not.
Actually, yeah, that's one thing. I thought in issue 1, I thought Black Mariah was going to be like a really bad influence, and like it was going to turn out that she was like super sinister. But
I felt like she was manipulating, because there's that line in issue 1 where she says, "I'm going to take over, whatever," and then White Jenny's like, "We're going," like she says, Black Mariah and White Jenny are going to do it.
Yeah, because she's already got a history of being abused and being taken advantage of, and I had this like horrible feeling that it was going to happen again, like Black Mariah was going to be another abuser, but I'm glad that it didn't turn out that way.
Well, I like that they turned that on its head, and instead Black Mariah is the one who's like, early on she's like, whoa, this is getting a bit more serious. We're just going to like cause some havoc and steal some stuff, and like, what are you talking about, murdering people? What? Where's this
wanted some
from?
money, that's all I wanted. Just wanted some jewels and some cash. Let's talk about the Fistball special, where
So
you've got this panel where Luke Cage throws Iron Fist, calls it the Fistball special instead of the Fastball special, which we all know is a Wolverine signature move, and it's Wolverine and Colossus that do the Fastball special, isn't it? In the X-Men comics, Colossus chucks Wolverine,
generally.
they call it the Fastball special. But generally, it's like anyone bigger than Wolverine, because I'm sure Hulk's thrown him before. I don't know. I'm pretty sure, but yeah, it's one of those things that's in the mush of many things that I've read in the past. But you've got the Fistball special in this, which I thought was a nice nod to sort of Marvel history, and it's like keeping it all in the family kind of thing. As you were saying, about random heroes turning up in the comic, people just walking past, turning up in Harlem, random Marvel heroes or whatever. It's like they're bringing into it that the other heroes that they've met, like the whole Fistball special thing and whatever, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah. And I like how this ties into how Luke just can't shut up about how he used to be in the Avengers and led the Avengers and knows the Avengers. Yeah,
because Luke apparently led the Avengers once or so. He'll never let you forget. Yes, he
did.
did.
The Avengers.
He did.
You know that.
He did.
Yeah.
In fact, building on that, you guys know there was a point when Iron Fist was Daredevil. Going back a bit, Iron Fist. Further getting into the whole like people knowing each other in Hell's Kitchen and in Harlem and whatever. Iron Fist was, for a short spell, Daredevil, because he did Daredevil a solid by trying to hide Daredevil's identity by pretending to be Daredevil, being like, "Look, Matt Murdock's not Daredevil, we swear. I'm Daredevil. I'm wearing the suit."
What did you guys think of Jessica Jones's appearance in this? Like, do you think she got short thrift? Do you think she wasn't in it enough? Or, like...
I think for what they're setting up with these guys, like she's in it as much as she would be, I think. And I've got, like, as current with just a couple of episodes they've got out, issues they've got out. It does just feel a bit one note at the moment because she's constantly complaining. But then, even then, like with her complaining and stuff, I don't know. All of this, which I kind of love about it, makes it super inevitable. And like it's inevitable with Luke that he's gonna get back with Danny. And to her, it's inevitable. And I think it almost feels like her thing is don't start up together. It's just like, tell me, what are you guys doing? Why do you keep coming back? And I thought you said this is a one-time thing, and another yellow T-shirt is destroyed. Come on, Luke, just say it.
She can see
I feel like if they kept her in the loop, she wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think she pushed back much when they decided to actually do it on the last issue. So that's what I kind of like. And while on the face of it, it might, like, I might be a little frustrated, thinking like, is that just gonna have her be the nagging housewife? But I've got a feeling that everyone's gonna play a part in it, and I say that mostly just because I'm a Jessica Jones, like I said, I'm an Alias and Pulse fan, so I would like her to get involved at some point. But for like the sort of genre trope they're setting up with this, it does, I don't know, it doesn't feel like false. Even though selfishly I want her to do more.
Yeah, I think the only reason I kind of picked up on it was because she was the only character I recognised.
I feel like maybe in later issues, when we get further on, she's going to start turning up a little bit more, maybe getting in on the action a little bit.
I mean, it is Power Man and Iron Fist. She's got her own damn comic.
Yeah, there is that. You got your own damn series. I mean, for something like, one of the biggest things for me, for something that started out as a way to save two failing comics back in the 70s, these two haven't done too badly out of it, have they? As characters, like the history they've had, the way that they've been used by Marvel through time and whatever, and since they were both rebooted again and Iron Fist was brought back to life and everything else, because he died at the end of the original run, I don't think they've done too badly out of the fact that they were two failing comic book series that had to be combined together to keep them alive, because that was the whole reason Power Man and Iron Fist became Power Man and Iron Fist, because the books weren't selling, so they put them both into one book in a bid to save the characters back in the 70s. But I don't think they did too badly out of it.
I was going to say, I think they're a good set of characters to pair up in this way.
Yeah, and I think if they keep it this lighthearted, I'd be happy to keep reading
we know that in previous incarnations of Iron Fist, he's not been such a wisecracker, but I quite like the wisecracking. I think I like the tone of the book, so I like the wisecracking. I think I like the fun, to use the word again, the fun. I like the fun of it,
Yeah, it doesn't come off as grating, which I quite like.
So I guess that's about all. Overall impressions, we loved it. I'd say we'd all tell you to go out and buy it. I think I speak for each of us, we'd say that, wouldn't we? Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I'm going to go out and get book 2. I'm going to go and get volume 2, and I think at some point we're going to come back to it and we're going to review volume 2, because I really enjoyed reading this and I like talking about it. It's got more for me to get my hooks into than other stuff, I think, when I want to talk about something. So that's what's I quite enjoy reading it as well, because it's a lot in there to it's just so colourful and fun. I love it. So yeah, thanks for joining us. That's about all. So you can find us on Facebook at Facebook/AceComicals. You can find us on Twitter. It's at AceComicals. You can find us on iTunes now. Woohoo! If you search for us as Ace Comicals, we're there on iTunes. Find us, subscribe. We have our website, www.acecomicals.com, which is run by Fireside. We are on the app...
Which one?
Pocket Cast,
Pocket
that's
Casts?
the one, yeah. I can't remember it. The name was on the tip of my tongue. I wanted to call it Podcatcher, but no, it's Pocket Casts.
I mean, I think the
Yeah.
hub for all of this would be our website, so www.acecomicals.com, and there's
All of
links
it there,
to iTunes, Pocket Cast, Twitter, Facebook, blah, blah, blah.
And we
It's
have a
all on there.
WordPress blog as well, which is also linked from our website. It's just acecomicals.wordpress.com. If you want to get in touch, ask us some questions, suggest something for us that you'd like us to read, maybe, you can get in touch via acecomicals@gmail.com, or you can get in touch through the Twitter feed. Where can we find you guys individually?
Right, so I've finally got back onto my Twitter, which I hadn't touched for about 3 years. That's @Moonke, so that's @MOONKEH.
And you'd be doing...
And for me,
Oh, sorry, I was going to say you'd be doing yourself a favour following Rahul, because he's actually followed by Barack Obama. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I won that game.
No joke, followed by the real Barack Obama. You can go and check it out. Go and look at his Twitter feed.
I don't think I mentioned to you, but my colleague is also followed by Barack Obama, so maybe it's just a pattern engineer thing.
Maybe he wants you guys to build him an Iron Man suit.
well, yeah, you're important people, so
You're gonna get a
keep
visit
in the loop.
from Shield. They're gonna come knocking at your door. Have you heard of the Avengers Initiative?
Be Biden.
Fingers crossed.
Leon, where can we find you?
They basically said to my Twitter @Leon Everett.
And before we go, Greg, do you want to plug our intro music?
So our intro music is actually by one of my brother's many musical projects, a band called We're Not Worthy. Yep, you can go check them out. Their stuff's on YouTube. It's on Bandcamp, and the track that we use, it's a part of a track called Make Mine a Double, which is from their EP that they released. That's about all. That's Ace Comicals. Thanks for listening, guys. Over and out.